Okay, I have a card effect here that uses some older ideas along with some brand new ideas that we can talk about. So what you need for this is the ace through 9 of any of the suits, okay? And this little routine begins with kind of a down swap procedure that we're going to have the spectator perform for themselves. But for them to know what it is they're going to do, we're going to have to demonstrate the actions for them. Okay, so here are the two actions. Card can go down, so just set it down as is, or you can swap the order of the cards, then set them down, and that reverses their order. So down, and then maybe we'll swap these, which switches their order, and then down, down. Okay, so those are the two actions. It's down, or you do a swap. You switch them before you set them down. Okay, got it? Now, of course, both of us saw the cards, and depending on whether you have a photographic memory or something, why don't we go ahead and mix the cards beyond the knowledge of anyone here. So I'll go ahead and perform the Klondike Shuffle, followed by maybe a Mon Shuffle, just to really scramble these cards. In fact, what I thought we could do is we could actually use our favorite cards in the deck to randomize the cards further before we have you begin this down swap procedure. Do you have a favorite card among the 52 cards? You do. The Jack of Clubs? Okay, so we'll go ahead and use that. So Jackclubes. And my favorite card in the deck is the Ace of Hearts. ACEOFHEARTS. Okay, well, I think you would have to agree that really no one could know anything about the organization of these cards here. And we're going to make it even worse because we're going to have you now randomize them using this down swap procedure. Okay, so what would you like me to perform first? Just down, down, okay, and then swap. Okay, I'll swap those and then set them down, down, another down. Swap these, okay, down, down, okay. Why don't we do another one of those? You want to swap the very top cards, okay, swap, down, down, okay, swap, swap again, okay, and then down. Okay, why don't we do it another time? Just down, 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 swap, 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 okay. Maybe one last time. Down, swap, swap, down, down, swap. Okay, boy, you would have to agree that those cards could not possibly be in an order that really anyone could be aware of, even if they had the mind of a savant to be able to track cards here. So for the first time, let's take a look at the order of the cards. So what's the order of these cards? What order did you put them in? So it looks like it's a 3, 5, 7, 6, 8, 9, ace, or a 1, 4, 2. That's crazy. Now, I don't know if you know this, there's 362,880 ways to arrange 9 objects. It's 9 factorial, so it's like a really big number. Oh, now wait a second, I forgot. I have this little packet of paper over here, a little prediction. It looks like it's made for a midget or something. Can I even, can I open it? Okay, let's try to, oh, okay, it does open. Okay, well, I think this is a prediction I wrote, and I was hoping to try to get at least 2 of these digits right. So it looks like I'm doing well. I got a 3. We got a 3 here. 5, I got 2 already. 7, 8, it's supposed to be a 6. 6, supposed to be an 8. 9, that's good. 1 or ace. 4, that's good. 2, okay, well, we didn't quite get it. Oh, wait a second, there's a little arrow over here. What does that say? Just kidding. Switch the 6 and the 8. Oh boy. Okay, no, actually we nailed it. Out of those 362,000 possibilities, I just happened to see the future that you, together with me, mixing these cards, would put these 9 cards in this specific order. How in the world did we do that working together? Okay, so that's what we're looking at today very quickly here. Okay, so how does this work? Well, there's a few things going on. In fact, let me just point out, I mentioned this already, but I wanted to also show you the surprisal value for this because it's pretty amazing. So there's 362,880 ways of arranging these 9 cards, okay? So the chance of just randomly guessing the particular permutation is tiny, okay? But the surprisal value, and so this will be measured in Shannon bits, they're called, is log base 2 of this number. It comes out to be 18.5 bits, okay? So the interpretation for this, and I have this on my channel, I talk about surprisal values a lot. The way to interpret this is what we just did in predicting the correct order here, just like randomly guessing the right order, fixing the 6 and the 8, is the same as taking, and we'll just round it down, taking 18 fair coins, tossing them high up into the air, and while they're in the air, you call for heads on all 18 coins. You say, I predict that all of these coins are going to land heads up. And they do. That's the same level of surprise, or what they call surprisal value, associated with guessing the correct order of these 9 cards. Okay, so extremely unlikely. And okay, so how do we do this? So how is this done? Well, you just begin with ace. Okay, 3. Let's put them in order here. Okay, so you begin with the cards in order. Okay, and so let me just explain. Some of this is just a miscomprehension, I guess, or misunderstanding on the part of the spectator, and most people will make this mistake. That's why the effect works. So if you begin with these cards like this, and when I demonstrated the down, down, swap, down, down, you remember that? When I was doing that genuinely, so I just realized that the cards are face down, but I am now dealing them face up. Okay, that's the first little fact, okay? So right now, dealing them face up like this, relative to the packet being face down, I haven't changed the order, right? But if I take these next 2 cards and switch them and set them down, that genuinely changes the order of those. Okay, and then the next one's down, the next one is swap, that changes the order, and then down, down. Now the important thing is the demonstration of the process is what sets up the packet in the special order that we want. We're not there yet. We're almost there. If you remember, I demonstrated all of that, and I said, okay, let's just review. The 2 actions are down, and then swapping 2 cards, and then setting those down. Okay, and now these go at the bottom. Okay, it's at this point the packet's already in the order that we're going to reveal at the end. So the goal now is to just preserve that order, come up with ways of mixing this that are identical to the identity permutation. So they're false shuffles or false mixing. They don't actually change the order, okay? So that's what I'll show you in a second. So it's already in the right order, and this order could be written down on your prediction, right? And then we mixed it supposedly, right? So what I did was I did a Klondike Mange pair. Well, the Klondike shuffle and the Mange shuffle are inverses if you perform the correct Mange shuffle. So for a packet of 9 cards, which is odd, the Klondike shuffle needs to be paired with the over-under over, under, over, under, over, under. And those two together constitute the identity permutation. It doesn't change the order of the cards at all, so that hasn't hurt anything. And then what I did was I asked for your favorite card. You were free to choose any card in the deck. And then I would give my supposed favorite card. Okay. Now they can state any card in the deck. Okay. So I think I had them state the Jack of clubs. So you just spell that out. So JACKOFCLUBS. Okay. Now the key for me is I simply have to choose a card name that has the same number of letters as their favorite card. Okay, and that's actually not too hard to do, because if you think about the Jack of clubs, now you have a couple of choices. You could go ahead and instead of stating a card like Jack that has 4 letters, you could state a card that has 3 letters. And I went with ace. And then you need to make up for that by stating, instead of clubs, which is what they gave, I gave hearts, which has 1 more letter in it than clubs. Okay, so it's not too hard to actually choose a seemingly very different favorite card that I have as the performer, which in the end actually has the same number of letters. Now that's important, because what we've done here, or what we will do, now if I do ace of hearts, ACEOFHEAR TS, hope I haven't done it already. I don't think I have. It will bring it back to the original order. Why is that? Well, elsewhere on my channel, I talk about HyperCOAting. HyperCOAting is where you count through all of the cards, but not more than twice. Okay, so for example, a HyperCOAting here would involve dealing out somewhere between 10 and 18 cards. You don't want to go past twice the number of cards in the packet. That wouldn't be a HyperCOAting. So if you perform 2 identical HyperCOAtings, it resets that packet. Okay, so those 2 together constitute the identity permutation as well, or a false shuffle, if you like to think about it that way. Okay, and now how does the last part work? Because here we genuinely gave the spectator the chance to do down swap however they wanted, and we did it like 4 rounds even. Well, this is where a bit of deception and misunderstanding comes in, I think, for the spectator, because if you remember, when I demonstrated the down swap, I was dealing the cards face up, okay? Well, it ends up that doing that is fundamentally different than doing it face down. Okay, so let me just show you. So let's say they say down, down, and now they say swap. So they want to swap these 2 and then set those down. Well, in fact, let's just do it and I'll show you. Okay, so we'll swap these. Well, the fact is that swapping has not changed the relative order of the cards. Now here it's reversed the order of the cards, I guess, because I've done it an odd number. But if you notice, it's 3, 5, 7, 6, 8, 9, ace, 4, 2. That's just the original order in reverse, okay? So you can test this for yourself doing this switch. Well, I'll just show you right here. So 2 and 4. If I switch those and set those down, it's still 2 and 4. Right? Okay, and like here, ace is on top, 9. So if I switch those, set those down, we still have ace, kind of below the 9 there, right? So what this is doing is it's a packet reversal. Every time you go through this down swap, when the cards are held and dealt face down, it's just a packet reversal. So if you do a packet reversal twice, it resets the packet to its original order. So if you remember, I had the spectator do it 4 times. Okay. Well, let's say they only want to do it 3 times, an odd number of times. Well, what you would do there, let's go ahead and we'll do it again. We'll do it like another down swap. Okay, this might be what they tell us to do. Well, now we've done it an odd number, which means it reverses the order of the cards relative to our prediction here, right? Okay, so what you would do there is, instead of revealing here, instead of like flipping these over and going like that, revealing the top card as the first, you just you flip the packet and just set those out. 3, 5, 7, 6, 8, 9, 1, 4, 2. Okay, and then it's going to perfectly match your written prediction. Okay, but if you do it an even number of times, you won't even have to worry about that. That ordering of the packet will be perfect. You will nail it. Okay, and very much surprise the spectator. And of course, I just meant to do a kind of a silly miscall here. You know, I intentionally transposed two of these to create the perception that I had messed up. Here I had already blown it, and then you have this little just kidding at the end. Okay, so that's just kind of a common magician's trick, right? To kind of pull out of a nosedive right at the end, even though the spectator thinks you've blown it. Spectators love when you mess up, by the way. So in some ways you can't lose in magic, because if you do it successfully, they're fooled and are surprised and are happy. Or if you mess up, many of them are even happier. Okay, so anyway, that's this effect, and I've shown you all of the elements that I made use of. And you can employ your own false mixing of this once it's in the order that you want. You can come up with different ways of ostensibly mixing it when in fact you've left exactly the way it is, okay? And it would just strengthen the perception of the spectator that, boy, how could anyone have kept track of anything? All these random processes surely have just given us an order that no one could have anticipated at the beginning. Okay, and ordinarily that's true, right? As long as it's truly a random process. But these processes, of course, are not random, right? They're controlled, even though they may look random to the spectator. So anyway, so thank you for watching, and take a look at other videos on the Absolute Math Magic channel.